One, two, 1, 2. That's a very good afternoon to all of our viewers from King George V's playing fields Brentwood, where today the home side take on Thurrock in Anglia Regional 2 game. Now yesterday was a very difficult day for the home countries with the football. It was game 2 of the group stages. Our streets were empty, Black Friday sales at Lakeside abandoned, and our pubs and fan zones rammed to their sweaty limits as we lumbered up to watch England and Wales play football, and some people drink about 30 million pints of beer. Today there's a host of internationals, England versus South Africa, Wales versus Australia, and we hope to catch some viewers who are not watching those games, looking for a little bit of light relief in this local derby. Brentwood is a club which was formed in 1935, just before the beginning of the Second World War. Then play was abandoned during the war, obviously, and then some people got together and reformed the club after 1945. One of the first games was against Shoebury and S Defaulters. A lot of teachers came into the Brentwood and Thurrock areas in the 60s and 70s, and these people started teaching rugby in the schools and producing more and more players. So Brentwood and Thurrock would end up with 7 or 8 teams at one stage. And it's a good afternoon to some of those old Brentwood players. There's Stuart Wilson, and I'd let you know, Stuart, I've just been nudged in the back by our old friend from Mountain Ash, Graham Morris. He should have been at the dinner. Richie Thomas, we remember, Frank Farrant, the prop, Len Grindle, and somebody from Cardiff called Di Games. Went to Cardiff Training College with our head groundsman, former captain, coach Clive Bynon. In those days there were lots of good teachers around, and in the Harlow area there were 3 great Welsh scrum halves in John Davis, Clive Shell and Gwilym Treharne. So Brentwood this afternoon are about to kick off, and it's Ewan May at full-back. Charlie Wilkinson is on the right wing. Fraser Paris and Isaac Kilbridge form the centre partnership. Fraser Paris and Alex Wilson form the centre partnership. Isaac Kilbridge is on the left wing. Jamie Cox is about to kick off. Ben Shook-Smith is making his debut at scrum half. Jack Rock is at loose head. Louis Payne is the hooker. Will MacArthur is the tight head. James Killington, the son of the coach for Brentwood, is in the second row with Dan Suttle. George Bassinger, Matt Whaley and James Vogel make up the back row. On the bench, Calvin Kloss, Jack Mays and Luke Watson. Thurrock have Rhys Cotter returning at full back this week. Kai Holloway on the right wing. Niall Clifford resumes his centre partnership with Henry Bird. Harry Reynolds makes a welcome return to the left wing. Dan Stone and Alex Jones make an all-Campion half-back partnership. Frank Wright is at loose head. Dan Ulf comes in as hooker. Aaron Antrobus is the tight head. Tom Wildman is in the second row with Tanny Loker, making his 150th appearance for Thurrock. Andy McAllister is number 6. Caelan Watts-Adams is open side, and Jay Jennings is the youthful number 8. Ewan Thomas, Eddie Stevens and Ahmed Aminu are on the bench, and referee Chris Baxter has blown the whistle from the London Society. That's been taken by Andy McAllister, who drives forward on the Thurrock 22. Deep in the Brentwood Hollow here at King George V's playing fields. So Alex Jones with an early box kick. Brentwood have allowed that to bounce, and it's given Dan Stone a chance to pick up, but it has been knocked on. When King George V died in 1936, of course, lots of playing fields were bequeathed to the country in his name. Thurrock used to play at Blackshots, which was another King George V's playing field, just like this one. Luckily, Thurrock then moved to Oakfield, a much better place now, and our groundsmen are here, Roger White and Graham Morris, enjoying the fact this ground is rather heavy. So the first scrummage. Jack Rock on the loose head for Brentwood. Good name that for a prop. He used to be propped by the Bevan Roystons. That's a good drive by Brentwood. They get the penalty, so they have a free play.
Is that right, Mick Marmion died?
I'm just talking to Terry Lee here, former player of Brentwood, of course. And yes, we're just reminiscing about some of the former players who've passed away. Mick Marmion was a great player, of course, for Thurrock and for Saracens and London Welsh, and a local man. And his son Kieran has played for Ireland.
In the Ireland squad, yeah. Oh, that's very sad.
So, Terry, what are you expecting this afternoon from this game? It's an early penalty for Brentwood.
Well, the slope will always make a difference, of course, in the first half for Brentwood, but Thurrock have always been our nemesis. Looking at the size, physically, they're a bit the same. Thurrock look a bit bigger, but should be a good, strong competition.
Good, thank you very much. It's an early penalty, and that's
just as I said.
That's Jamie Cox just pushed the ball slightly to the right of the post.
0.
So good afternoon to Mercedes and Jenny in the Cayman Islands, to Paul Stevens as usual in Singapore, Mick Leckenby, who is in Cyprus at the moment, I think. Our Welsh contingent, Bob Williams, Brian Davis and Donna, the splendid bar manager of the Brentwood Club. So Thurrock take the 22 after that missed penalty. And Dritan Loken, his 150th game, has picked that up, but it's deemed to be illegal.
Boys, discipline!
Dave Stevens there, the coach, calling for discipline. So that penalty has put Brentwood deep into Thurrock's half. It's a good line-out taken by Killington. They get the forward drive on. Thurrock are trying to repel it. Does wheel to the side. Danulf gets back around to the far side. Thurrock seem to have stemmed the tide for a moment. The referee is called now to use it. There's a great tackle by Henry Bird in the middle of the field. But they've still managed to get the ball wide. And that's a try for Isaac Kilbridge on the left wing. Now the referee seems to have overruled that. I'm not quite sure why.
No, you didn't. You didn't overrule it.
So there must be a foot in touch by Isaac Kilbridge. It's a line to Thurrock on their own line, 5 metres out. It's gone to the back, has very well taken the back of the line out. It's Caelan Watts-Adams calling himself. Alex Jones comes blind, throws it a couple of dummies. A couple of dummies there by Alex Jones. The referee allowed a bit of advantage to Brentwood. There was nothing forthcoming, even though they'd kicked the ball in the far corner. An unfortunate knock on as Thurrock broke free on the blind side. Electing to run with the ball rather than put the box kick in, which is enterprising. Great tackle from Henry Bird in the middle. Put down his opposite number, Fraser Paris, with real power. Alex Jones recalled this week. So a year-long duel with Eddie Stevens. Thurrock have won that against the put-in. It's come. The referee judges it has come straight out. So that's Chris Baxter of the London Society. Today's filming himself. Always good to do self-analysis, according to Freud. Good to see Lew Hughes here today, former Thurrock chairman. So it's Ben Shoesmith who's putting the ball in on his debut. It's more of a solid scrum for everybody, a switch in the middle of the park. Dan Stone comes up quickly. Andy McAllister makes the tackle. Loose forwards running at Thurrock's backs. Antrobus putting a good tackle. It's another penalty for Brentwood, this time I think for offside. Chris Baxter, the referee, speaking to Niall Clifford, the Thurrock captain today. That's probably the fourth penalty consecutively. So Jamie Cox with a second attempt, having had a sighter in the first couple of minutes, has an opportunity to put Brentwood ahead. This time he makes no mistake, that goes straight through the middle. That's Brentwood 3 points, Thurrock 0.
Let me just test my linesman running distance. Oh, no,
So Niall Clifford, the captain, to kick off with his right foot. Ball comes back to Cox, who sends that right down the middle of the park. Clifford's firmly in place. He's looking to run out there. He's linked up with Jay Jennings. Jennings rolls. Thurrock retain possession. Danulf in the middle of the field. Sidesteps. Another Campion boy. Inside pass to Frank Wright from Caelan Watts-Adams. Thurrock quickly to the breakdown. Come blind and switch inside to Kai Holloway, the winger. Is lined up by Lewis Payne. It's a good tackle from him. Kai Holloway does manage to retain possession though. Dan Stone, Henry Bird. There is an offside there. Thurrock have a free ball, so Alex Jones kicks it. And just as Tanny Loke goes charging through the middle of the field, the referee realises he's probably whistled too soon and didn't allow the advantage to go far enough.
Lucky Tony! Lucky Tony! Get another one,
So Brentwood were offside. Alex Jones kicked the ball. It was charged down. The referee deemed there wasn't an advantage, but unfortunately for Thurrock, Tanny Loka picked up the ball and was charging through the middle of the park. So Danulf has taken that ball to the front of the line out. He's charging all the way towards the line. He's knocked down, I think, by Brentwood. Thurrock managed to get the ball. Went back to Danulf. Interestingly, Danulf played at Campion. He was a hooker there, and he played with Caelan Watts-Adams at the time. Caelan Watts-Adams was a fly half. So he rarely featured in the line-out until he moved to the second row and back row. The giant of a man nowadays. So Thurrock were in a good attacking position, but knocked on. Just they approach the Brentwood line, gives Brentwood a chance to scrummage and clear their lines. It's a better scrummage from Thurrock. Back to Jamie Cox. He's cleared downfield. And Harry Reynolds, unfortunately, has knocked that on, or knocked into touch, hence giving Brentwood the double advantage of not just clearing their lines but actually having a line in their favour. Strong southwesterly at Brentwood today. This is Ben Shoesmith, caught at the base of the breakdown. This is an excellent turnover by Aaron Antrobus. Managed to get in a good body position. And with Henry Bird, Andy McAllister all in concert there. It was much better from Thurrock. So you could assess the strength of the wind by that kick to touch from Henry Bird. But he has managed to push that deep into the Brentwood 22 to give Thurrock another attacking opportunity. This time it's Caelan Watts-Adams in the middle. It's a nice early ball. Thurrock have given to Henry Bird. Now Clifford goes on a crash. Thurrock come blind on the recycled. Tanny Loker drives in hard. Thurrock keep going blind. Caelan Watts-Adams. Thurrock give Kai Holloway a chance on the outside. He's come back inside Kilbridge. Thurrock have got Antrobus on the charge. Blind again for Thurrock. This time Niall Clifford, Henry Bird featuring the blind side. Kai Holloway's put on the outside. Comes back inside. And once again Thurrock are very close. It's another penalty to Thurrock. Henry Bird has to pump that in the corner. He does so obligingly. Keen contest in the line-out today. Killington Suttle up against Loker and Caelan Watts-Adams. Good to see Scott Chitty working hard as team manager today. There's a ball straight to the back to Caelan Watts-Adams, and Thurrock now set up the driving maul. The referee calls the turnover. He told Thurrock to use the ball. Ball wasn't forthcoming. So Thurrock have had a couple of opportunities against the wind and up the slope this half. A good run by Kai Holloway. Some good interchange between the centres and wingers. And one hopes as ever that we're not going to get this interchange of kicking that we've seen all the internationals in the autumn. That's a very long kick from Jamie Cox that is flying right down the pitch, right towards the far end. Rhys Cotter has the ball. He's done very well to find a good touch in these conditions. The wind has freshened and it's certainly been Thurrock's favour in the second half. Good to see Anthony Catchpole running the touchline. Be good when he returns to his propping duties. Good line out by Brentwood. Dan Ulf has managed to grab hold of George Bassinger. Now Tom Wildman comes up with the ball, but once again illegally. Tackler should have released according to the referee. This game has been punctuated by quite a few errors by both teams. Once again that demonstrates how easy to kick with the wind down the slope to the far corner. So Thurrock had done really well to move up the field, but as soon as Brentwood were able to put in a long distance kick, it then gave Brentwood the opportunity to move deep into Thurrock's half from the resultant penalty. So this is a good line out, goes to Dan Suttle, it's gone to the back, and so they've managed to get them all driving forwards. With a loud whooping cheer from the crowd on the far side, the referee has awarded a try to Brentwood from a driving maul. I think that's probably Lewis Payne scored that. One has to say that playing at Brentwood has always been a game of two halves. I know that's a cliche, but the slope and the wind dictates the pattern of play, there is no doubt. So Jamie Cox with a conversion attempt. Once again he smashes that through the posts. So it's Brentwood 10, Thurrock 0. And the referee's lost the P in his whistle. His cards. No, he hasn't. He's looking for his cards. We hope he doesn't have to use them today, yellow and red. There's a better kickoff from Niall Clifford that's gone high. It was well taken by Brentwood. This time they've come blind, and that's been knocked on by Charlie Wilkinson. So risk and reward. That time Brentwood elected to run with the ball, knocked it on and put Thurrock in an attacking position. We always say that coaches determine game plans and strategies, but players dictate tactics on the field. Whenever people played Brentwood, the tactics are quite clearly to move your way down the slope and keep the scoreboard ticking over, which is precisely what Brentwood have done. So Thurrock open that scrummage up. It's good. There's a switch in the middle to Niall Clifford. He's gone through the first defender, as he often does. Jay Jennings. Thurrock clear that out. Androbus is knocked on once again. So it's Andy McAllister.
Run with it, hey!
Harry Reynolds taken that well. He's gone to ground for that one. He's kicked the ball upfield.
Hit him!
And then puts in a good tackle. And this time Brent would have been holding on and Thurrock get the penalty.
Take a knee, take a knee, Andy, take a knee.
When to give it. Oh yeah.
There's an injury there to a Thurrock player.
I think so.
Can't quite see from here. It looks like Andy McAllister, unfortunately, put in a big tackle then and seems to have come up with something of a leg injury, perhaps the quadricep. And Dave Stevens is going on the field to see the extent of this injury, to see whether Thurrock need to make a replacement. Alex Evans, the physiotherapist, is on the field.
Where's our physio?
Alex Evans.
No, went before. Not even before. We used to be worried about him coming on. We should get up and I'm all right. Jack Bender. Nah.
It's Andy McAllister who's got back to his feet. Henry Bird with the penalty. Alex Evans seems to have worked a bit of magic there, and Andy McAllister is able to continue. Danolf throws out the front to Chani Loka. Henry Bird comes in as first receiver. Here's Dan Stone outside. And it's Frank Wright. Good bullocking run from Frank Wright, and Antrobus, his prop partner. Brentwood very quick on the turnover. Interesting feature of play, turnovers, of course.
Yeah, but he's getting in the way. Let's go again. All right, get back into the box. Anthony, mate,
Interesting feature of play, turnovers, because they tend to favour the defending side. Having difficulty getting the ball back onto the pitch here, much to the dismay of the home hooker, Lewis Payne.
thank you. Let's go, Tom.
At last the ball is retrieved.
Let's go, Slade. Let's go. What, cool? Yeah, back on me. Sit here. Yeah, I'm ready.
This time there's a failed line out, and it's very well taken by Tom Wildman. I think he managed to get the ball wide. Rhys Cotter's coming to the line, giving Harry Reynolds a run on the outside.
Oh, he's offside, ref! Can't get there, can't get there! It's gone dead, Dive with it! Have a look at that, mate.
This time there's a loose kick, and Kai Holloway is first there to touchdown.
Sir!
Game punctuated by another injury. So we hope it's not like the Football World Cup where we have 10 minutes of extra time. There have been quite a number of injuries. This time it's Niall Clifford, Thurrock centre, looking very much like his Ulster youth teammate Stuart McCloskey. Good afternoon to John Langley down in Tewkesbury in Gloucestershire. So Thurrock have a dropout from their own line. It's charged down, and it was quite disastrous for Thurrock. They would have won the turnover as well. That's Charlie Wilkinson, who's managed to get over there on the half an hour. It's Brentwood 15, Thurrock 0. It's a very interesting charge down from a kick on the goal line. It's a very difficult thing to do. One wonders where there was an encroachment within the 5 metres. Cox adds the extras at 17-0. It was unfortunate for Thurrock. There was a speculative kick.
There's a bit cross. It's you know, I know. Even that Ralph, with a head or deputy head at the school. It's not microphone, is it?
That's not gone 10 metres. Unfortunately, Andy McAllister's had to leave the field injured. It means that Ahmed Aminu has gone onto the field. Sorry, Ewan Thomas, I beg his pardon. Ewan Thomas, the young man from the youth setup, has been out for a number of weeks injured, but he's come back onto the field today and replaced Andy McAllister, who's hobbled off. So Ben Shoesmith there, taken by Alex Jones, has come up very quickly on him. As the ball shot out the back of the scrum. Jamie Cox elects to kick, but he's caught by Danulf in possession. Danulf is driven off the ball. Good clear out, which gives yet another penalty to Brentwood. And with a bouncing ball there, Isaac Kilbridge is the beneficiary. Very unfortunate bounce for Thurrock. Crossfield kick. And after early promise by Thurrock, this is quite a strong lead for Brentwood, even in these conditions. So a bit of up-to-date information there from former Chairman Lew Hughes that there could be some changes. So with Cox converting that, it takes the lead to 24 points. And Thurrock must keep their heads up, knowing there can be a big turnaround on this pitch. Quite a bit of good fortune associated with this long lead, of course. That is so often the case, the mistake compounded by a second mistake and a scrum back.
Come on, let's go after it!
And Thurrock, after a promising start, have found themselves in the unenviable position of now being 24 points down. Still about 7 or 8 minutes to go in this half. Brentwood throwing the ball around at will now, with the comfort of a long lead.
Yes, Aaron!
This time it's another crossfield kick for Isaac Kilbridge. This time he's lost it. And the referee goes back to an earlier offence. It's quite strange that. I always find that law very difficult to understand. How you can take the advantage of a crossfield kick and you almost have a try scoring opportunity. If you don't take it, you go back to the penalty. And to compound the matter, Aaron Antrobus has been shown a yellow card.
What's that for?
Looks like Aaron Antrobus has taken one for the team there with a cumulative effect of a number of penalties. It is unusual that the only way you can not go back for the penalty is to score a try. So it's the ultimate advantage. Thurrock and Brentwood have played many games over the years, and they first played in the 1974 Wessex Cup final. Dan Stone has picked that one up. What's next? A good crossfield kick by Dan Stone. Subtle at the front, that wasn't straight. Gives Thurrock the option.
Have a lay out!
Don't take the scrum of it,
And Thurrock have the option, they take the line out. Thurrock arrive late. Goes right to the back to Jay Jennings. That's gone over the top to everybody, and the ref judges that it's gone skew-if.
He obviously never played rugby. He's never played rugby.
What have you done, guys?
Yeah, it's unsorted.
Who have you subbed off?
Right, no one. It's alright, it's done.
Yeah, who have you subbed to go off?
No one. No one.
If you bring on a train prop, you have to drive.
We've got 2 train box on. Sir, he's a flop. He obviously doesn't know that he's not on the field. His props don't play second row. No, they don't.
So the referee questions whether Tom Wildman has played prop. Of course he has. He's played prop for most of the season. He's been drafted in the second row this week through injuries. So it's Ben Shoesmith looking to enhance his reputation as a debutant.
Let's go, boys, yeah, come on. Lucky, yeah, well, you're man. Let's go, Lucy! Go, right, let's go, Frank! Push him before the ball is in every time, ref! Push him before the ball is in! Get some more eye drops in! Yes,
Brentwood have tried to expose the outside there. Managed to do that successfully. The extra man. Thurrock try and win the turnover. They have managed that and they set up a forward drive. And now they have a penalty.
no good making up to it down there, ref! You want to be up here?
Clifford off the right foot. Sorry, Henry Bird off the right foot.
When I sell with boys.
So Thurrock reduced to 14 men. The line out. It's gone to Loker at the front. This time Thurrock have a free ball. Much to the relief of the Thurrock faithful, they have a penalty. So Henry Bird understandably taking his time. It's a good kick from the young man. (1974) Thurrock beat Brentwood in the Essex Cup final at Thames Board Mills, which is a famous old ground where Thames used to play. Always prized by Essex, that ground. Loker wins that one at the front. Thurrock is still trying to trundle forward. The referee's insisting they use it. It's gone loose. As Jay Jennings dives on the ball, the referee suggests he may well have been offside. And Thurrock usually got the better of the cup days when they appeared in 10 of the first 12 finals, winning the Essex Cup 7 times, and in the mid-70s win the Essex and the Eastern Counties in 3 successive seasons under the guidance of Clive Bynan. Brentwood always known as good semi-finalists. In the days of the leagues, honours have been fairly even last season. Thurrock won the home game and Brentwood won their home game. Once again they're trying to get Isaac Kilbridge in on the outside. It's a great tackle by Rhys Cotter. This time Niall Clifford smashes the opposition to touch. So good work by Rhys Cotter and Kai Holloway and Niall Clifford, forcing Brentwood into touch. That's very well taken by Loker at the front. Real athleticism and dexterity. Clifford puts the ball out wide. It's Harry Reynolds. It's gone a little bit loose. Thurrock have regathered. And another penalty to Thurrock.
Sir, yellow! No 12.
So with Thurrock down to 24 points to 0, they'll be hoping to see through the rest of this half. Well, they only have 14 players to give them a chance of coming back in the second half. Frank Wright has managed to gather that overthrow at the back of the line out, so it gives Dan Stone a chance there. Feels now Clifford on a lovely line there. Clifford's on a lovely line. Decides to give the ball to Reece Cotter on the outside. Elects to go to ground with it.
The ball do the work down again.
That's gone backwards, giving Thurrock a chance. But again, they can't capitalise. And for not releasing, Thurrock have given away the penalty.
Long off, sir. Check your watch. Ref, it's 47 minutes. Good ball going down. Let's go now.
Look at that.
Jamie Cox has pushed that down to Thurrock's half. Penalties, 4 in a row going to Thurrock and now 1 going to Brentwood. Again, that gives Jamie Cox the opportunity to punish Thurrock by driving that deep into the far corner. And Antrobus comes back on the field, putting Thurrock back up to full complement. Eddie Stevens has expertly picked up the reserves coat. It's a good line out by Brentwood. They've taken that well in the middle of the field. They get the inevitable forward drive going. This looks fairly ominous. They're now wheeled around. And it looks as if the referee has suggested that has been held up over the line. And that is the half-time whistle. So it's been an interesting first half, punctuated by a lot of stoppages. Probably went on about 7 or 8 minutes longer than it needed to. Thurrock had an enterprising start, were deep inside the Brentwood half. Unfortunately, a succession of penalties led to Brentwood getting a commanding lead of 24 points. Unfortunately, Andy McAllister has picked up a knee injury, I believe, and he's had to leave the field, and he's been replaced by Ewan Thomas, who's come on for his first game in 6 weeks. So Thurrock coaching staff have some repair work to do, and I suggest there's probably only one tactic in this half, and that is to get deep into the Brentwood half and to accumulate some scores and put pressure on the home team. Of course, this afternoon, currently Wales are playing Australia and England will play South Africa later on today. A very interesting autumn series. During that time, Wales have had lots of difficulties, particularly in the Georgian game, where they're unable to outwit the Georgians, who had quite a limited game plan, but an outstanding full-back. England played extremely well in the second half to claw back the All Blacks lead. Indeed, could have won that game at the end of the day. Today they play the world champion South Africa, and we know where they're actually at the end of this day. Ireland, of course, have been the star team. They're world's #1 team. They've driven all before them during the autumn series and continued where they left off in New Zealand in the summer. a great year for Ireland. France have been exactly the same. They are unbeaten at home, and last week they managed to secure yet another win. So it's been a very interesting autumn series, and will be a point towards the World Cup next year. So as the cloud storms gather, storm clouds even gather, we're getting ready for the second half. Beautiful autumn afternoon here at King George V's playing fields. As we look around, we see some Thurrock stalwarts. Cliff Stevens, the father of Thurrock's coach, Dave. Graham Morris, Alan Broad, Roger White, and of course the inimitable Lew Hughes. Interestingly, Brentwood have put in some new change rooms and a patio area, and there are no takers that patio area today. So Thurrock are in a huddle, trying to plot a way to get back into this game in the second half. They're now up to full complement with 15 players again. And with the right tactical approach, there should be no reason why they shouldn't get back into this game. It's once again good afternoon to our many viewers around the world, and please click on to YouTube and subscribe. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, but it certainly helps give great exposure to the game. So with our expert cameraman Mark O'Dana this afternoon, he's scanning around the pitch for you.
Is that football?
Frosty, what are you doing?
Wales nil, Australia 3.
Oh, yeah. Like a vice.
5 minutes.
And Wales with a difficult job today against Australia, resurgent Australia. They've rung a few changes with Joe Hawkins of the Ospreys coming into the centre, and the return of the octogenarian Alan Wynne-Jones. It's not quite that old. Wonderful servant, of course, the world's most capped player. And on the other hand, I've made some changes, and it'll be interesting to see how they do against South Africa later on this afternoon. Well, the evening is drawing in here at King George V's playing fields. It was a 2:30 kickoff today, and there are no floodlights here, so we hope we get through. But it's certainly darkening by the moment. And congratulations to the team in South Wales, who are doing particularly well at the moment. There's Abertillery at top of the league. And congratulations to Matthew Caitlin, who this week represented Captain Crawshay's 15 against Oxford University. Seems a longer than usual half-time break, and the referee, Chris Baxter, just getting ready to go back onto the pitch.
I've got 24 now, haven't you?
Let's just check the score with the cameraman. It is indeed 24-0 to Brentwood, as he eats his jelly babies in order to recharge his batteries. So with Andy McAllister injured, not able to go back on the second half, Thurrock are back to full complement. Ewan Thomas replaces McAllister in the back row. Young fullback Rhys Cotter anxious to get into the game. It's been a lonely position for him at the back today. And now Dan Stone kicks off in the second half.
Let's go now, boys. New half.
Wales 5, Australia 3.
Come on, boys. Nothing to lose now. Give it a go.
Jack Morgan.
Dan Stone kicks off deep.
Lose that loose. Re-slam it. Get it out.
It's very well taken by Jay Jennings at the back, and he's made good progress there. That's deep into the Brentwood half. Thurrock have quick ball. This time Caelan Watts-Adams is the first receiver. Tritan Loka. This is Ewan Thomas, a good run from the young man. He's put to ground. He deposits the ball firmly back. Loka attacks the gain line. Dan Stone, that gives Clifford a good chance there to break through. Henry Bird picks up the pieces. Feeds the forwards. Dan Stone puts a long ball to Rhys Cotter. He's accelerating away. Works the switch inside to Kai Holloway, the winger. How Thurrock could do an early score in this half. They've certainly given the impetus they need. They've certainly upped the tempo they'll be in this half. Henry Bird throws it back to Niall Clifford. Henry Bird loops around, looking for work. It's a good pass where they go straight in defensive mode. It's imperative Dan Olf gets the throw right. He goes to Caelan Watts-Adams at the back. They've got the first part right. Now the drive is on. So Dan Olf for the back. Thurrock still moving forward. Now they've gone sideways and it has gone to ground illegally, which gives Thurrock a free ball. This time Dan Stone throws a dummy. He's gone to the post. Former Campion fly half saw the gap, and it's opened the scoring for Thurrock. It'll be in the second half.
Boys, that forward line, that was so much better.
Hey T, where's the T?
Dan Stone waiting for the kicking tee. Fine dummy from the young man. Came as a result some great runs by Henry Bird and Niall Clifton in the middle of the park. And then Dan Stone saw the dummy on. He used the two centres as a decoy and he was under the posts. There was a penalty coming anyway, so it's a really good start the second half for Thurrock. Dan Stone with the conversion, and she's slotted between the posts. So it's Thurrock 7, courtesy of Dan Stone. Brentwood 24, and of course a great driving line out.
Alright, that's the whole way line, mate.
So the perfect riposte for Thurrock, and it's Thurrock 7, Brentwood 24. Great kick-off by Cox, has gone very high and is brilliantly taken. And that's George Bassinger has taken that and given Brentwood a chance to attack. Shows what a great kick-off can actually do. Henry Bird and Clifford there with the tackles. Thurrock looking to put a bit of pressure on. Danulf has managed to get hold of his opposite number. He's knocked the ball on. The referee says it's gone backwards. This time the ball has gone forward from Lewis Payne, and Brentwood player was in front of the ball and collected it and knocked it on. Sorry, it was an offside position. So it's Dan Stone now taking over the touch kicking duties. Once again showing the force of the wind and the fact that Thurrock are playing down a substantial slope. So Thurrock have gone into the Brentwood half with a line-out option. Again, beautiful take by Caelan Watts-Adams, but it wasn't straight. It must have been marginal, unfortunately for Thurrock. Strong attacking position, athletically taken by Watts-Adams, under some pressure, but the referee suggests that the ball went a little awry. So most of the first half was in Brentwood's favour, the home team. But at the beginning of the second half, Thurrock have dominated so far. And apart from that error, they're looking the more likely to score. Dan Stone has taken over the kicking duties. It's a better scrum from Thurrock. Has come out the winger. Charlie Wilkinson, that's a good kick. A skidding kick along the damp turf. Ewan May, the Brentwood full-back, organising the defence there with Charlie Wilkinson, the winger, who just put in that really good low kick.
Let's go, pressure now.
This time it attempts to get to Loke at the front, but that's been knocked forward. Brentwood have won the ball.
Shots! He's on his own! Again! Hit him! Good, Aaron!
It's giving Brentwood a chance to get back into the game.
He's gone for his own player.
It seems like quite a long advantage for a knock-on. When Brentwood couldn't take advantage, they have come back for the scrum. And Brentwood have made a change there. That's Calvin Kloss has come into the front row. Unfortunately, it looks like an injury to Dan Stone, who has suffered quite a few of the player who has not been able to string enough games together to make a substantial impact. It looks as if Alex Evans is working her magic.
horrible. Oh, do you know, it's horrible. £2 for a cup of coffee and it's like dishwater. Disgusting.
Happily, Dan Stone has recovered.
Yeah, he's back. He wanted to play for free because the twos didn't play. He said he just wants to go another game.
So we go back to the scrummage in Brentwood's favour. This time Thurrock got a good scrummage on. Brentwood managed to release their backs. Alex Wilson there was literally collared. Pick and go, pick and go. Then we'll try and tighten things up. This has turned a bit of a doer forward battle. Kai Holloway goes to interception, just misses it. It's allowed Isaac Kilbridge to burst down the wing. There has been knock on. Unfortunately, Dan Stone is down again. It looks as though Thurrock might need a reshuffle in the middle of the field. That would bring Ahmed Aminu onto the field, or maybe Eddie Stevens. We're not quite sure. Looks like Eddie Stevens. Dan Stone is going to leave the field. That will probably mean that Alex Jones will move to 10 and Eddie Stevens will take up his usual position of scrum half. These two have been vying. Eddie Stevens has scored 3 really good tries at the base of the scrum. Alex Jones brings real experience to the position. It's been an interesting duel. Of course, Alex Jones has played quite a bit of rugby at fly half and he was slotted in the position rather easily. Shame for Dan Stone, who's been getting a run at fly half, but he spent most of his time at Campion School. So it's Thurrock's head. Another good scrummage from Thurrock. It's very solid. Eddie Stevens has got that one. There's a missed move out there now. Clifford, who comes on his left foot and belts ball down the field. It's taken well by Wilkinson, who knows exactly where to stand on this pitch. So Clifford has to hair back. He then puts it all the way down the field, and that's an excellent kick from him. So after that little bit of kick exchange, Thurrock probably come out just on top as they go back into Brentwood's half, but it is the Brentwood throw-in. Lewis Payne, the rugged Brentwood hooker's there, right the front. It's gone right the front to Suttle. It's put the scrum half under a lot of pressure. Does very well to hang on to the ball. Not a good place for a young, skillful scrum half to be. This is going to be quite a battle up front. Switch in the middle of the field.
It's in.
So we go looking for the tackle.
Slots!
Shoesmith. Brentwood have done well to retain possession. Thurrock keep knocking them back. No, put the kick in. Harry Reynolds has caught that ball. He feeds Rhys Cotter. Rhys Cotter looks for the long corner kick. It's a nice kick from the young man. That's bouncing a touch. Is that in the 22? Is that a 52? I suspect so, which will give Thurrock the attacking line out. The touch judges, as they are usually from the clubs. And that's quite a difficult one. certainly looked from where I'm standing as if that was a 50-22 kick. An excellent kick from Rhys Cotter. And the touch judge has seen differently. The Brentwood blindside. Thurrock have deployed the right tactics then. They've gone down to the Brentwood 22, and although they haven't got the line out, they're still in a strong position. That's gone to the front, and that isn't straight. But Thurrock have jumped across the line, Andy Hayden style, I suspect. And Brentwood have the chance to get out of jail. It looks as if the wind has died a little. This time it's an excellent line-up by Thurrock. They managed to win that ball. Dan Ulf has snaffled the ball. Thurrock have it on the outside. He's coming out now. Henry Bird. He feeds now Clifford. Now Clifford feeds Rhys Cotter. Puts Harry Reynolds on the inside. And Reynolds is knocked back in the tackle. And Brentwood have won the ball. And Harry Reynolds has taken a bit of a blow there. Alex Evans is quickly onto the field.
Ahmed, get ready.
Go on, Jay.
A loose ball there gives Jay Jennings a chance to dive on it, but there has been knocked on prior to that. And the referee has to halt proceedings with what looks like an upper body injury to Harry Reynolds. He is explaining to the physiotherapist what's happened, and hopefully he will be fine.
Harry, let's have a change anyway.
So Harry Reynolds has taken a bit of a blow to the face. It's certainly not concussion. The young man has got up and he's walking unaided to the side to the applause of the crowd. Has brought Ahmed Aminu onto the field on the left wing. Heavily bandaged on the left hand. Probably the result of a work accident rather than anything related to rugby. So it's young Ben Shoesmith who's put the ball in. It's a great scrummage from Thurrock, who've driven them right back off the ball. And that has given Thurrock a penalty. To rapturous applause from the away fans. Some great scrummaging from Thurrock today. A lot of work being done by Dave Catchpole and Dave Stevens on that aspect of the game. They gained their just desserts then, that scrummage. All the hard work that's gone into it. And in fact the last three scrums have gone in Thurrock's favour. The referees elected to penalise Brentwood on that occasion. Always difficult of course when you put the ball in, because the hooker has to strike for the ball. At that point drive comes on and the opposition tend to get forward momentum. This time that's well taken by Thurrock in the middle of the line out. They are marching forward at a rate of knots now. Their scrummage has gone so well, it's certainly given confidence. And there's been a deliberate knock on there from the Brentwood player in the red zone. Referee is looking at the Brentwood player there. Thurrock are in the attacking red zone in the Brentwood 22. They had a strong driving line out. Ball had come back on their side, and the referee inevitably goes into his pocket for the yellow card. The yellow card he'd left in his bag earlier on the day. Thank goodness he's remembered it. So Thurrock find themselves almost the identical position that Brentwood were in the first half, with an advantage of one man and an attacking penalty. This time the ball is given back to Henry Bird. He plants that into the corner. The fabled coffin corner of King George's Field, Brentwood. For over 50 years people have played in that corner of the field, often in the competition known as the Brentwood Silver Ball. Great competition pre-season. It ran throughout the 70s and 80s and 90s. And in between the semi-finals and the final there was a competition for the Golden Boot, a place kicking competition. This time Thurrock go to the back. It's very well taken by Jay Jennings. Thurrock get the drive on once again. This time they're marching forward. Brentwood are down to 14 men. Thurrock have quick ball. This time there's a switch in the middle of the field. Thurrock set up a forward drive once again. Now quick ball comes outside. Now Clifford feeds outside. Rhys Cotter gets the ball, gets out to Ahmed Aminu. He's pulled down short. Looks as if Jay Jennings was going close in. The ball went a bit wider. Eddie Stevens feeds out. Loka goes hard to the posts. Clifford again. This time Thurrock have just lost the ball. It looks as if they're going in for the try. Rhys Cotter has to hair back. The ball has gone to touch. Missed opportunity for Thurrock there. Brentwood down to 14 men. Thurrock had the driving line out. Pulled down short. Good pasture play. Couldn't quite get the final pass in. There's a knock on and Brentwood managed to escape. So just the killer instinct needed. Good positive play from Thurrock. Just need the final touch. Dalton Carter getting in the way of the camera there. We apologise for that. Good to see the young man back. Well, we've got that brief interlude in the play. Andy McAllister, what's the injury, Andy?
Knee.
A knee injury for Andy. Dan, what's the problem? Shin. What's it? A bruise. Cody Holloway suggests ego, but yeah, I wouldn't say that. Harry Reynolds has recovered happily and he's got a smile on his face. So Thurrock have to reset once again. This time's a long ball to back to Jay Jennings again, a beautifully taken ball. It's a good run from Rhys Cotter.
Next job, boys, next job! Next job!
Let's turn this job now, boys, same again!
It's unfortunate forward pass as Rhys Cotter came flying into the line.
Next job!
So how long are we going to take this at the start? Come on.
I'm off then. Get into Frank. Straight over him again. Let's go, Joe. Run him down. Get into him, get into him.
So again, Thurrock go for the driving scrum. Brentwood withstand that one, managed to get the ball away. Work a switch in the middle of the field.
Hit him, Ewan!
Good tack from Ewan Thomas and Dan Olf on Lewis Payne. Killington trying to tighten things up for Brentwood. Jay Jennings, beautiful tackle in midfield. Dummy thrown. James Vogel, number 8. Very difficult to get any momentum in this game, unfortunately. That penalty is mistouch. The detail was good, the chase was good, that meant that Thurrock would charge down. So he tried to clear the ball downfield.
Wales 20, Australia 6.
So Henry Bird to clear the lines, takes a quick tap. He thumps the ball down the field. It looks as if that might have been a free kick rather than a penalty. But we are standing here in the deepening gloom at Brentwood. It was a free kick, that was a Brentwood line out, taken well by Suttle. It's been a good contest in the line out today between the two teams. Jennings putting in a lot of tackles. Again, the young man. It's given Ahmed Aminu a chance to get the ball. Jennings there, the first to receive. Great contest between the back rows today. Tom Wildman. Becoming quite a dogfight, this game. No quarter hour still given. No liberties taken. A lot of big tackles going in from both sides. These two old rivals have been slogging it out for over 50 years. And there are rarely any away victories. So Fraser, Paris, Alex Wilson having the usual battle with Henry Bird and Niall Clifford.
Soft! Soft! Get him out! Charlie! Get him out! There we go! You just go down! Go down! Come on! Hurry, go, Tay!
So there's a subtle chip ahead. It's brilliantly dealt with by Rhys Cotter. Been a bit of a knock to Niall Clifford. The captain always giving 100% and more. Never takes a backward step in the tackle. He's got to his feet to re-engage in the battle. Loka takes that well. His 150th game. Thought to get the maul rolling forward once again. Alex Jones feeds Kyle, always come across the far side. It's gone back behind Rhys Cotter. Brentwood looks if they're offside again. With about 13 or 40 minutes left, Thurrock get on with this. If they're trying to close the gap, they'll need to be pretty quick. And unfortunately, that hasn't found touch. Thurrock take a quick one. Gives Niall Clifford a chance to go up the middle. It's a nice stepping run from him. Danolf now looking inside. Bounces off the first tackle. They'll go back to the right. And yet another penalty for Thurrock. An injury delay has again stopped the tempo of the game, just as Thurrock get into a good attacking position.
How long have we got?
Probably about 10 minutes left with a little bit of injury time. There has been quite substantial injury time. Not quite as bad as the Football World Cup, but I'm sure we're going to get a few minutes extra. This time Henry Bird makes no mistake with the touch finder, and Thurrock go again. Loka wins this one at the front, and Thurrock get them all going once again. They've done this on several occasions. This time some of the backs are adding their weight to the progress. They've been halted just short. Loka is just short. This time though, Henry Bird seizes the opportunity and he's crashed over there. Unstoppable from 10 yards. It's Thurrock 12. Brentwood 24 with a conversion to come. I thought probably need to get the tee on the field very, very quickly in order to get on with this, to take advantage. So Henry Bird converts his own try. That's 14-24.
12 minutes.
With 12 minutes remaining.
Two more tries.
Right, 2 stars, come on.
So Thurrock 10 points in arrears, going the last 12 minutes of the game.
Catch it, put it back down there, just leave it there.
And we hear from the Principality Stadium, I'm sorry to spot it if you're going to watch later, but Wales were leading by 20 points to 6 at one stage. That might save Wayne Pivac's job. been a roller coaster of a season for Wales. England, Ireland and France far more consistent. So Jamie Cox to kick off with about 12 minutes left. Another excellent kick from in, a lot of height there, as well taken by Aaron Antrobus. With the injuries, a lot of Thurrock players haven't put in a long shift today. Now they've sent the ball wide to Niall Clifford. Ahmed Amini was tackled high off the ball, giving Thurrock a free ball. So Thurrock have a free ball, but the ref assesses there's been no immediate advantage, so they go back to the penalty. Brentwood player is called forward, and for that high tackle there's going to be a yellow card.
Come on, T!
Chase it, boys! Chase it, Ahmed! Chase it, boys!
Someone get the ball.
Henry Bird with that siege gun kick puts Thurrock into the red zone again. That's an outstanding effort by the young man. It's gone right into the corner. This time it's Caelan Watts-Adams taking the ball to the back of the line. It's a good line out this time. He's won that ball, and with the Brentwood pack down to 7 men, Thurrock are driving forward. They're going to rate of knots. They're very close to the line, and this is another score for Thurrock. And this time it's Dan Ulf at the back of that driving maul. It's Thurrock 19, Brentwood 24. Henry Bird is getting on with this quickly. As was suggested, it's always a game of two halves here at Brentwood, and Thurrock are right on top at this very moment. And Henry Bird has just pulled that one wide. It's a 5-point deficit with about 8 minutes to go. The pendulum has certainly swung in Thurrock's favour. Brentwood down to 14. Thurrock in the ascendant.
Yeah, he's quite dark.
So Cox, imperative he gets good kick off. He's done well so far. This time it's gone a bit long. Thurrock take it in quite easily. They try to move the ball wide, bring in Rhys Cotter. Ahmed Aminu is held up. He's gone to ground, they're forced to release. Tritan Loka goes to ground. It's good clear out by Thurrock, but unfortunately too late, and Brentwood have the penalty. Apologise for any language there coming from the field of play. Really unfortunate for Thurrock. Looks as if they had a good clear out there, but the referee saw otherwise. Gives Brentwood the chance to put this game to bed. They're down to 14, but with the light fading, we're deep into the dying embers of this game. A shame for Thurrock. They've been dominant throughout this half and looked the more likely to win it until that penalty. It has been a game of many penalties, unfortunately. So it's Jamie Cox with a chance to put the game to bed. And he's missed that, it's gone wide. So it's a 22 to Thurrock. This time Clifford goes long, goes into the Brentwood half. Thurrock up to make the tackle on the halfway line. I'm sorry about the fading light. Next week's a 2 o'clock kickoff. It's well taken by Eddie Stevens. He goes running down the blind side, was forcing a touch and possibly should have kicked the ball down the field. I think Thurrock aware of the fact there isn't much time left and trying to keep the ball in hand, but that was to their detriment on that occasion. This time the ball goes bobbling about the front of the line out. Thurrock get the ball in quickly at the front, goes to Loka. Thurrock get the drive on. Now they escape round the blind side. So they've managed to escape around the blind side. They've got a quick ball. They're going to feed it wide. Henry Bird goes, gives an eye to Clifford. Now Clifford comes inside hard. For very close to the line. It's a great opportunity. So they give the short ball. He's held up on the line. Androbus. Jay Jennings. Thurrock looking for a quick ball now. A half break. Thurrock still have possession. They held up short.
Swing wide, Reese! Come wide, Reese!
And this time Henry Bird has to release. And Brentwood have won the ball back. Thurrock had a great chance to win the game right at the end there. It's a high kick, it's not in touch. Just bounced into touch near the halfway line. So Thurrock had a great opportunity to win the game that stage. Couldn't quite get over the line, and a missed pass robbed them of the opportunity. But Thurrock have one last line-out opportunity. And Danhoff to throw in. And Brentwood trying to con the ref there that it was their line out. They had kicked the ball out.
I'm Ed, you're in the forward.
Tony Loka takes out the front. So they drive that. And the ball has come out again to Clifford. He's gone wide. Reese Cotter has lost the ball there in contact. And Brentwood has saved the day once again. This has been a keenly fought encounter, as is always the case when we have this local derby. Very few teams come to Brentwood and win, often because of the conditions. Even a line-out win is cheered with great gusto. So Brentwood keep the ball short. You know, we're quite close to the end of the game. And they've kicked the ball out. And that is the final whistle. Brentwood have won this game quite fortuitously. It's a bonus point for Thurrock, who've done very well to come to Brentwood and claw back a 24-0 lead. They've ended the game at 19 points to 24. Thurrock were very unlucky at the end. They had a few opportunities to win the game, couldn't quite take them, and stout defence by Brentwood with a strong partisan crowd enabled them to see the game through. Nevertheless, a very encouraging performance from Thurrock, and they've certainly played well in this part of the season to overcome some of the difficulties at the beginning. They are without several key players today, and hopefully they will be back in harness in the next couple of weeks. So it's good afternoon from King George V's playing fields, Brentwood. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast today, and we look forward to seeing you once again next week when Thurrock played home to Chingford. Good afternoon.
Turn up!